welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The New York Giants have made a couple of moves on day one of free agency. Nothing with the quarterback yet, and we'll see what comes of that. Really, the most likely front runners, and I'll discuss it more in detail once a decision is made. But as far as veteran QBs are concerned, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are still out there as I'm recording this, and we'll see what shakes loose of that. But still nothing as of this point. But there's a lot of other holes for the Giants to fill, and they're trying to do so. One of the big ones is cornerback, and they signed former Saints corner Paulson Adebo to a 3-year deal worth $54 million, so $18 million per season, which I think puts him at about maybe top 15 as far as annual average value. And he has been a starter for the last 4 seasons. He is coming off of a season where he was hurt. He broke his femur, only played 7 games. So figure if he had been healthy that the contract probably would have been larger than what it is. But the Giants have desperately been in need of someone who has, ball skills. And he has 7 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. A lot of pass deflections. 18 in 2023 in 15 games and 10 last year in just 7 games. Again, 3 interceptions in just 7 games. And this is someone who, again, 3rd round, he started basically from the outset in 2021. 3rd round pick out of Stanford. And now what is good about this is, assuming that he comes back healthy, and that's, the expectation, is it moves Deonte Banks down in the depth chart, which is very much needed. It was clear that he was nowhere near ready to handle being the number 1 corner. I have my doubts that will ever be the case. But now you have someone that was really highly regarded. There was a couple other cornerbacks. You heard a lot about DJ Reed, the former Jet who signed with Detroit. Carlton Davis, who was a former Buck. He also signed, and I believe that Adebo's contract, as far as per year value, was in between those two. I think Carlton Davis came in at $20 million, Adebo 18, and DJ Reed 16. But he's a man-to-man corner and one that hopefully can give the Giants defense a new outlook, because this secondary was really, really bad last year. And we'll see if Shane Bowen can help bring out the best in Adebo. But this will probably go down as one of the biggest moves of the offseason by Joe Shane. And they need it badly, obviously. It feels as if for Shane and for Brian Daboll, they need to hit on just about everything in order for this season to be anywhere near successful enough to keep their job moving forward. Also, what just came down is the Giants have re-signed Darius Slayton. So you just keep on thinking that, his time as a Giant is coming to an end, and he keeps on coming back. And that was not the expectation. So the 2025 season will be his 7th. And he is the longest tenured Giant with Dexter Lawrence, having been drafted in Slayton, that is, in the 5th round in 2019. And there was a thought that maybe he would follow Daniel Jones. As those two came in together, they had great chemistry. And Slayton's numbers really, really dropped off. After Daniel Jones was let go, Slayton did not do much with Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito. His numbers last year were 39 receptions, 573 yards, and 2 TDs. But he has been the Giants' leading receiver. Obviously, last year was Malik Neighbors. But before that, I think it might have been just about every year but maybe one out of the first 5 years that he was a Giant. And so it's a 3-year deal worth $36 million, which is a fair value. And the alternatives really weren't out there. The Giants were interested in Joshua Palmer, who ended up the former Charger, who ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills. But Slayton now will probably be, for all intents and purposes, the number 2 receiver. Now, obviously, there's Wan'Dale Robinson. It depends kind of how you look at it, but it doesn't really look great for Jalen Hyatt. And I think that Jalen Hyatt's probably on the outs Someone to me that really, if he doesn't, assuming he's on the roster going into training camp, and he's someone that if he struggles, I'm not even really sure if he makes the 53-man roster to start the season. It's that bad for him right now. So with that said, I wouldn't expect to see the wide receiver room change all that much. Yes, they'll probably bring in someone else, but chances are the main core is going to look like neighbors Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson, and the big question is who is going to be throwing them the football. And then the other move that is made, and the Giants really need interior help on the defensive front, it is Roy Robertson-Harris, who comes in, a veteran, most recently with the Seahawks. He was involved in a trade from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Seahawks last year in October. And Robertson-Harris wasn't as effective with Seattle as he had been previously. Spent his first 5 or so seasons with the Chicago Bears, then the next parts of 4 seasons with the Jaguars. So, in this two-year, $10 million deal, and I heard reports that it might have been $9 million, but let's go with 10. He will be part of a rotation next to Dexter Lawrence, and he has pass rush ability. He has, put up some sack numbers, and the Giants are going to need that. Still on the roster is Rakeem Nunez-Roches. I think there was a thought that maybe he could be a cap casualty, but he's still there. And again, as far as Robertson-Harris goes, last year had 2 sacks. The year before that, 3.5. Before that, 3. Before that, 3. So pretty consistent. And again, someone that has the ability to maybe you'll see him on passing downs. And look, he's 31 years old. He'll be 32 when the season starts. So this isn't a big signing, but definitely someone that will make this roster, especially for the fact that the Giants were rolling out players last year. They're really practice squad players for a lot of last season. And this was an easy team to run on. So, on day one at least, trying to fill some needs. I think that they're going to focus as well on probably trying to get a guard and some offensive line help. So I think that is something that's on the horizon. But, for now, again, the main sort of topic of conversation is what the Giants are going to do at quarterback. And I think the bigger thing is what's going to happen in the draft. But going into that, will the Giants sign a named veteran like Aaron Rodgers, like Russell Wilson? Again, I'm going to save those thoughts for when this decision is made because I definitely have a lot of thoughts on it. But for now, Giants making a few moves. As far as some of the other, besides Darius Slayton, who's re-signed, we'll see what happens. Azeez Ojulari, I would be very surprised if he returned as a Giant. Jason Pinnock, I could see a reunion there. That's a possibility, but we'll see if news breaks for those players as well. And Giants don't have that many A, free agents, and B, just desirable free agents that other teams would want. So a lot more news to be had. Only day one, and day one's not even over right now. So if there is something on the quarterback, we'll definitely do another episode on that. But for now, again, Giants signing to a 3-year contract, Paulson Adebo. They re-signed Darius Slayton to a 3-year deal, and they bring in veteran Roy Robertson-Harris on a 2-year contract. So just the beginning, and we'll see what else Joe Schoen and company has up their sleeve.